Hello YouTube family and friends of the channel, welcome. It is JJ here, Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust. It is June 14th. It is Sunday. As we go into mid-June, we want to focus today on the dollar and the possible demise of the dollar. Now, I don't think it's going to happen near term, but I think eventually the dollar's days are numbered. For the short term, there's going to be a big flight into the dollar. You may continue to see the dollar strengthen, but we can look at a lot of signs. We're going to look at some opinions today and statistics as well, charts, numbers, and data that point to how many people and even big banks are preparing for the demise of the dollar. Let's go ahead and get started. But real quick, before we get into it, I want to welcome our new sponsor, Golden State Mint. I'm proud to announce they are our latest sponsor. And before teaming up with them, I did scan their inventory. They do have more inventory, it seems, than some other gold and coin and silver dealers that I've been talking about previously. They're located right here in California. And Golden State Mint also has free shipping right now on domestic orders over $99. That's for a limited time, so please check the link below. And they do have products in stock right now. I'm looking at silver right now. They have 1 ounces, they have 32 ounces, they have 10-ounce bars. They also have gold bars in highly barterable small increments. These are 1-gram bars that are available if you don't want to throw out $1,800 for a whole ounce. They're also having a sale right now on these 1-ounce silver buffalo rounds, so check it out, link down below. Get it now while you get free shipping. Let's start it out right here. This is a Bloomberg article, recent article, and it talks about some details here about the crash in the dollar. A crash in the dollar is coming. The world is having serious doubts about the once widely accepted presumption of American exceptionalism. So yes, a lot of the world is waking up. The world is seeing that the United States is the world's largest debtor nation, even though we've been touted as the world's richest nation. It's just the opposite. We've been appearing as the world's richest nation because of the unlimited debt that we can accumulate and the unlimited deficit and the unlimited spending that we've been so blessed to have over the past many years. Remember, we came off the gold standard completely in 1971, and since then the dollar has been backed by nothing but confidence and foolery of the world's citizens and other countries. You could also say it's backed by oil and the U.S. military. All of those are true, but people are starting to wake up and realizing that the dollar's days are numbered. Let's look at some information here. Excerpt out of this article: already stressed by the impact of the virus, U.S. living standards are about to be squeezed as never before. At the same time, the world is having serious doubts about the once widely accepted presumption of American exceptionalism. Currencies set the equilibrium between the two forces: domestic economic fundamentals and foreign perceptions of a nation's strength or weakness. The balance is shifting, and a crash in the dollar could be well in the offing. Now again, I don't want to mislead people on what I think. I think the dollar is going to be strong in the short term. It's in the long term that I have worries, and that's why I'm accumulating metals each and every month. Hard assets. And it may not be hyperinflation. It could just be inflation, which is going to be weak economic growth combined with inflation, also known as stagflation. Now, when recessions and financial crises first hit in this country, typically you see a run to the dollar. For example, the dollar's low in July 2011 was a full 3 years after that financial crisis had began, and since then the dollar has recovered 33%. And that is in inflation-adjusted, trade-weighted terms. Next, let's go over to the Fed balance sheet and look to the far right here. When you see the Fed balance sheet go hockey stick pattern parabolic right here, that should be a red flag. That should be a warning. The writing is on the wall. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen tomorrow, next week, or next month, but we should start preparing now. And I've said this before, but remember, we're just getting started. This financial crisis is just the tip of the iceberg. The real pain has not been felt yet. And yet, if you look back at the 2007-2008 financial crisis, we've already eclipsed that run-up in the Fed balance sheet. So that tells you what is happening at the Fed and how much liquidity is having to be injected into this system, into this economy. Let's talk about national debt. We're talking $26 trillion, $3 trillion budget deficit. These are astronomical numbers, and they're only going to continue to get higher. The world is waking up to the dollar as a scam, a fiat currency, a piece of paper backed by nothing, and in most cases it's not even a piece of paper, it's just digits on a screen. And we have to ask ourselves, are all of the payouts that the government's promised us, is it going to be there? People say that money's set aside for Social Security and other programs. Is it really there? Or is that also just digits on a screen? You really think they have the money or the coins in a vault somewhere to pay out these programs? Or is it just digits on a screen? I think you know the answer to that. But yet people will say, oh, the money's set aside, it's going to be there. Trust the government, they won't let you down. And I'm not blaming anybody, of course, for taking Social Security. You paid into it throughout your working career. Maybe you'll get more out of it than you paid into it. Maybe you'll get less than you paid into it. Sadly, many people will leave the earth before they get back what they paid into it throughout their career, because many people don't make it to 70 or 80 years old. So it's not a program that's going to help everybody. All right, let's look at some other numbers here. Total U.S. interest paid on the national debt, 3.7, almost 3.8 trillion. Let's go down here. U.S. unfunded liabilities, $148 trillion. Right? Do you really think that all these unfunded programs and liabilities are going to get paid out? Or is there going to be a reckoning day? Is there going to be a collapse? Is there going to be a reset? And I think there's going to be a lot of pain. I think we should start preparing. Some other numbers here. Total personal debt, $20 trillion. That includes student loan debt at $1.6 trillion. That's an average of $37,800 per student. And on and on and on. The debt is unsustainable. Nobody knows exactly when it's going to hit the fan, but we do know that nothing lasts forever. There has not been any currency, a fiat currency has never lasted forever. There's always an end. And again, that's why we should start preparing. Recent article right here out of resourceworld.com. Central banks to increase gold reserves. Isn't it interesting that you can take money created out of nothing and buy real assets with it? You can buy land, you can buy natural resources, you can buy gold and silver. Excerpt out of this article. The World Gold Council has released gold reserves survey that determines central banks are planning to substantially increase their buying of gold bullion. The report noted that this year's central bank gold reserves survey highlights several notable shifts in central bank attitudes towards gold. Increased interest in gold's performance during times of crisis would suggest that the fast-changing financial and economic landscape has sparked a significant transformation in investment attitudes. Moreover here, a total of 88% of respondents say that negative interest rates are a relevant factor for their reserve management decisions. 88% of respondents, they expect negative interest rates. And they are hedging against that by buying gold. Central banks are buying gold. Now, I think this is a complete scam. I don't think central banks should be allowed to buy anything, because if you have unlimited printing capabilities, it's very unfair that you can create money out of nothing and yet buy real assets. Of course, life isn't fair. I'm not saying that it is. Will anything ever be done about this? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But I do think it's going to push the prices upward for precious metals. And if you want to be on the right side of the trade, if you want to hedge against this, if you want to, what some call bet against the central bank or bet against the debt, be your own central bank, you need to start accumulating at least some gold and silver. Now, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, no, I don't recommend that. Maybe a silver bar here or there instead of McDonald's, or instead of wasting your money, yes. And even if you have a few extra dollars a week or a month, instead of going to McDonald's, instead of wasting it, maybe instead of going to a casino and throwing it into a slot machine, maybe buy some precious metals. You'll have it. It's amazing how people will spend when movie theaters were opening. I guess some of them are reopening now, but when movies are opening, they're spending $10, $15, sometimes up to $20 to sit there for a couple hours and watch images on a screen, also known as a movie. And they could have had an ounce of silver that would have lasted them a lifetime. Forbes magazine also reported on this. Recent article came out this month in June. Financial crisis fears to boost central bank gold buying. Next, let's take a look at a historical chart for silver prices. And we do see the big run-ups in silver price close to $50 two different times. Intraday it might have reached over $50. You see here back in the late 70s, early 80s. Also coming out of the financial crisis, 2007, 2008, into 2011, huge run up, almost touching $50. And this is when you should be selling. If it were to run up to $50 again tomorrow, next week, next month, I would be selling a big portion of my silver. You have to cash in at some point, and the time to cash in is when you see these big run-ups. I wouldn't sell it all because you never know how high it can go. Maybe $50, maybe $100, maybe $200 an ounce. Who knows? When the dollar loses reserve status and when confidence is completely lost, when the world wakes up to the complete fraud of this currency that's been printed into oblivion, right? Who knows what the price is going to be? But I do know that we should prepare. Now, also on a different topic here, I want to touch on what's happening politically, socially here in the United States. Prepare for things to get much worse. Again, prepare for things to get much worse. And I know people are saying, oh, this is doom and gloom, this is fear porn. Look what happened. Look what's happened so far in 2020. Things we've been warning about here. We didn't know what the trigger was going to be, but we do know that something was going to happen. There's going to be a crisis. There's going to be chaos. And we've been telling you here to prepare, prepare, prepare. There's other channels that have been doing it too. Big corporate media, not so much. But prepare for things to get worse. There's a lot of things happening again politically and socially, and you're going to see more events pop up. You're going to see more protest, more chaos. And I think ultimately it's going to drive people out of the larger metropolitan areas, out to the country, the more rural settings, so people can be more self-sufficient, have more property to be more self-sustainable, hopefully, and also to be more safe. And we're going to talk about that and more in our next episode. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. Come back for more. Bull Boom Bear Bust. Have a good one. Stay well. Bye for now.